Professor Bob, do you want to talk manga?
So I'm going to do twofold, right? Because you can't really talk manga without anime, in all honesty. As a child, right, when I was a young kid, everybody loved watching.
So I'm actually just going to take a back seat and listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get schooled.
Everybody loved those 90s cartoons, right? Everybody loved watching the X-Men cartoons, the Wolf. Like, dude, that it was the amazingness, right? It was taking our childhood comic book heroes and bring them to animated life. And some people, like, they hear that da-da-da-da-da, like they hear that, right? And they automatically go X-Men, right? They automatically think that, right? So as comic books are to cartoons, anime is to manga, right? They take manga, which is literally Japanese comics, except you read them in reverse. You read from right to left, top to bottom, from back to front, versus left to right, top to bottom, front to back. I've been reading manga, honest to God, for 25 years. I'm 42. I've been watching anime for longer than that, right? Because we lived in the middle of nowhere. There was no cable companies that gave us TV or anything like that. So we had a 10-foot satellite dish. And I found back in the late 80s and early 90s, I came across this amazing show called Dragon Ball. Man, and I watched it every week. Every week I went out there and cranked that freaking satellite dish over to the other satellite while my brother would be in the living room and with the window open. Okay. No, a little bit more. It's good. Oh, okay, it's good. Come on in, right? Because we had one of those big old hand crank ones that you had to sit there and spin, and you're spinning like this 1,000-pound freaking metal cylinder damn dish to switch it to a different satellite. And I remember when we finally got the motorized version, like they took the same satellite dish and put a motor on it. Man, that was like night and day. But that was my first real intro into anime was Dragon Ball. And man, I loved it. I own every episode of it in like a couple of formats. Honestly, I have it on VHS even. And I own it digitally, and I think I have most of it on Shudder. Absolutely. The original Dragon Ball. That's where I started watching. And like there was no English subtitle, right? We just enjoyed watching it, right? Couldn't understand a single thing they said. And that was one of the things me and my brother did every freaking week. My brother, he's 4 years older than me. He's 46 now. But man, it was amazing. So much fun. And then in my teenage years, Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, right, started showing Big O, Inuyasha, and all these others, right? Now, we had continued watching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z throughout, right? I enjoyed watching all those shows. And come to find out, they weren't just cartoons that were made up like a lot of cartoons were now in that time frame, right? Found out they were all based off of animated comics, right? They were literally comics, but they called them manga. And in probably late 90s is when I first started really getting into manga. I lived in the middle of nowhere in Indiana, small town. I can tell you right now, the bookstore did not have manga, okay? So trying to find it, I started using, I think AOL was probably in its prime around then, honestly, and we would start finding places to read it online. And there were all these basically web servers where people were like college students and stuff were translating this manga, right? They'd get the episode, and within a week or so, they would take the original text out in Japanese, Korean, or Chinese, depending on where it was from, and they would kind of high def it a little bit and put in English text after translation. And that's where I really started reading on a regular. There was quite a few websites before the FCC started really coming down on them. There was a group of students out of MIT that had an entire web server that they had over 70 titles they were translating. They had a staff of like 30 people, and they were translating almost 30 titles over the course of a month and releasing them. The ones I really, BBS manga, absolutely. The ones I really like, I followed from, I don't want to say beginning to end, but close to beginning, but absolutely to the end, were Bleach and Naruto and One Piece. But One Piece is still going. You know, those are huge mainstream ones, right? One Piece is over 30 years in the running now, whereas the it's like it's, if you had to say a comparison of manga to comics, right? One Piece is kind of like the Iron Man, right? Which was in the 60s. Where like Hello Kitty and Samurai Champloo and a couple of other guys, like they started way before that. So when you compare them, manga and anime, as long a history as comics has had, manga and anime has probably produced as many titles now at this point as comics had since they started back in the 30s. Manga and anime probably started in the 70s, right? Because it's that popular over there. I mean, it is the fandom, right? Prior to MCU, I would probably say there's 5 followers of manga and anime to every 1 comic and cartoon follower. I'm just completely honest. And just like there's every genre of comic that you can imagine, there's more so in anime and manga, right? And the reason they get away with it, right? So like, most of them are coming out weekly, right? 17 to 20 page chapters weekly. How do they do it? They do a color spread for the cover, maybe for the mid panel flap, and everything else is black and white. And that's how they get away with it. That's how they're able to produce weekly over and over and over again. And do I feel like it takes away? Absolutely not. The black and white gives you this kind of altruistic fucking point of view for all of it. And you kind of, your brain kind of fills in the colors as you go. But the color splashes are just like, when you see the covers and you finally get to see a character's actual hair color and the idea of the writer and the creator. It's amazing to see. Like, one that's been over for a long time that I really enjoy was Bleach. Bleach is about a white-looking high schooler with orange hair that's a Shinigami, a soul slayer, right? A death slayer. He kills ghosts and things of that nature with a sword called a Zanpakuto, right? and your Zanpakuto grows as your soul grows in strength and power. Your sword's soul power grows. It's an amazing thing. It's probably one of my favorite on the long-term series. That's, probably 500 chapters or more. It's absolutely worth reading, but it's a long read. The Black and White Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, dude, absolutely same kind of thing, man. Like the underground comics, man. I love those 70s and 80s underground comics because they're just the black and whites, and it lets you. I wonder why you're pale. Whatever, Jelly. Whatever. It lets your imagination kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. Now, just as comics have evolved, so have manga and anime. Yeah, of course, there's the freaking dirty ones, the hentais and all that kind of stuff. And if y'all want to watch that, go ahead. Some of them are entertaining, but for the most part, they're just smut. If you want to watch smut, go watch smut. I don't care, right?